Welcome, freelancers, to our Anthem show. Thank you so much for joining us today. Joining me today, of course, is Dantics in the middle.
Hello.
And Arekkz over there.
How's it going?
I screwed that up. Arekkz is in the middle on the production thing, and Dantics is on the right. Yeah, on the show today. Yeah, shaking it up. On the show today, we're going to be discussing all of our impressions now that we've played a large chunk of the campaign. I still have not completed the campaign, so chat, don't spoil it for us. We're not going to spoil it for you on this show. We're going to keep it spoiler-free, so top-line impressions without story-specific spoilers. We're going to talk about our general likes, dislikes, improvements that we think could be made. The story, what we think of the story without ruining anything. The gameplay hasn't gotten grindy yet. That was a big concern pre-release. And we're going to talk about the microtransactions because that's definitely something I've been discussing a little bit on the Twitters. And the endgame and how that is looking. So let's kick things off right away. We will start talking about our general likes and dislikes. Dantics, did you have some time to think about this?
No, of course I had some time to think about this.
Yeah. Oh, look, show's over. No,
there's a lot of things I liked about the game. Now, one of those was the environment. We were recently doing that Tomes mission, the dreaded Tomes mission, and we were flying around in free play, the four of us, having a lot of fun, just looking at all the environments that were. Look. The environment team have done an amazing job. Even though there isn't a varied amount of biomes, it's usually just like a jungle or scrap-laden areas or kind of like Avatar kind of feel areas. I really, really enjoy it. Like what I'm seeing feels to me like there's a lot of potential for further content. Like I saw like carnivorous plants, for example. I'm like, what if they animated those or made bigger versions? That would be interesting. So I like the environment. I also like the combat. The combat I'm really, really enjoying. I love the fast-paced, movement-based, skill-based kind of shooter. Really, really enjoy that. Mm-hmm. What about you guys? What do you really enjoy?
Well, bouncing off what you just said, I have to say that the more that I play Anthem, the more that I'm liking it. Like at the beginning, like I was trying to figure out like all the lore and all the story aspects and just what there was to latch onto. And the further I get into the story, the more it's gripping me. And usually like they have a big opener that really grabs me, but I had seen that already. So it took longer, but now I'm really into that. I'm really into the gameplay mechanics. And now I'm starting to get loot where I actually have to consider my build. I still haven't hit 30 yet. So right now I'm just like, all right, whatever the max gear score, I'll be able to get through it on hard. But but maybe later that's going to get a little bit more difficult. So I'm actually having a blast right now. What about you, Arekkz? Do you have some positive things to say to start?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, yeah, I've definitely been having like a really good time, like super enjoying it. I mean, kind of touching on sort of the stuff that we said before in the demo. Again, like the gameplay is the thing that I enjoy the most. Like it's still to this moment doesn't get old, jumping and flying and stuff. And exactly what you were saying. Like now I can think about my build. Like now, like when I was messing around in the demo, it's like, you know what? I don't really care about half these weapons because I'm not going to keep them. Like now everything I get, it's like, let me just look at this. Let me compare these stats. And like, I mean, like that's the kind of thing that I like in these sort of games, right? Like I want the loot to matter to me, and like now I am starting to forge these different builds, and you know I'm still Colossus, right? But I've actually stepped away from my flamethrower lightning coil build. Would you believe it? Because like I mean, partly I did it because I got an epic thing that was a different piece of gear, and I was like, well, I need to raise my gear score. And then in doing that, I branched out, and I was like, actually, I found something that I kind of prefer using now. So definitely that aspect of it, and yeah, just having the whole world to explore as well. Like in the demo, anytime you have those like barriers where it's like you can't go here, you got to respawn. Now I can fly there, right? So the world is completely open, and there are some cool like secrets. Like I found a few. Actually, one of the things that I do really like, I found a few more things actually underwater now, because I think we said before in one of the one of the previous conversations was like, is there really any value in going underwater? Because everything in the demo was like kind of shallow.
Oh, this vertical. Oh, get it?
Hey. But now there's actually hidden caves there. I went into a dungeon through the underwater space. I was like, actually, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, it's hard to believe that like this small vertical slice we were able to explore wasn't everything, you know?
And who would have guessed?
Yeah, who would have guessed that? Overall, criticisms for me, I'll talk about a few right now. The downed mechanic they need to figure out something. Like, I know they've discussed like being able to switch perspectives or something like that, but just having a giant red orb on your screen, like that still, it really, really needs to be fixed, because there's been missions where somebody wrote a whole Reddit thread I saw on Reddit while they were down just staring at the red orb. And I guess that's like you can't really do anything. I don't even think you can go into your journal. You can't like read lore while you wait. You can't ping your teammates. That's definitely a mechanic that they could work on. But I'm so good, I don't get down that much. So, no, that's a complete and utter lie. But yeah, that's probably my biggest one off the top of my head. What about you guys? What improvements do you want to see?
There is one, like,
right,
really, really, like my biggest gripe, right, is you're far away from your teammates, and let me teleport you to your teammates, right? Now hold on a minute, right? I love this game, right? I love this game, but I can see my teammates. They're like 2 meters ahead of me, and it's like, hey, no, you're too far away. Let me bring you through this loading screen to bring you to your teammates. It's like, no, please. And sometimes I was like, today I was doing one of the missions, and I was literally about to go through a door. I'm going through the door, and it's like, nope, you're too far behind. I'm like, yo, that needs to be relaxed, because that right there, that's
yeah. I had that so many times, especially because the load times for me were really long. So there was a few occasions where I would load in, I would automatically be behind my team, and then I'd slingshot to them, which would load me again. So I'd be sitting there like, okay, it's been like 3 minutes so far. But I actually made a video on what I'd like to see improved. And Mike Gamble actually messaged me on Twitter and said, really good suggestions. We passed them on to the team. So they're actually looking at all of this. Yeah, they're actually really looking.
Awesome.
And one of the changes was obviously being downed. One of the changes was the load times and the slingshotting. What was the other ones that I said here? Hold on. When you're critically damaged, when you get the sound bug, that's one of the things that is still there. Yeah, did you guys get that?
Oh, I got it twice, and what I would do is I have a music layer on OBS, so I just turn that on. I'm like, all right, everybody, we're gonna be playing with the music track in the background, and then you restart the game to like get all your audio back. That one's a pretty big bummer. Overall, I would say that the gameplay feels really fluid and good. The stun locking hasn't been an issue yet, but I do encounter some buggy situations, especially in free play. There's a clip on my channel where like I got frozen and like there's no projectile, but like I have the frozen status effect on my character, and I'm like, what is happening right now? So it was really, really weird.
Did you guys miss text chat?
Yes, I really want text chat because there was times where like I just want to type, "Hey, I'm down," and apparently they've commented on this before where it's some sort of illegal thing. But I noticed in what's the area where you can run around with people like a tower, like Destiny?
Oh, the launch bay.
The launch bay, which was also bugged for me. I couldn't get in or out of that, so I encountered that bug, but they had subtle things where you could communicate with your teammates in there. And I really, really like that. Like you could press E on a teammate and be like, I'm confused, or I want to team up. And I'm like, oh, that's really, really good. That means they must be working on this sort of system to have basic communications. Like Dark Souls had that, right?
Yeah.
So, Sorry, I just went on a little bit of a rant there. I interrupted you, Dantics.
Well, No, you're completely right. And I think legally what they need is, if they do have a text chat, it needs to go from text to talk, because it's involving a disability issue. So it needs to be text to talk to text. And if there's a ping system, when you ping something, it should verbally say something now. So like I hate having to reference Apex again. People have been telling me off in my chat for referencing it all the time.
Apex is pretty good.
Look, the ping system in that is the goal. That's where you want to be, I think. And if we had that, just let's please target this legendary sniper, please. And everyone will see it and everyone will do it. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Because they're both EA partners or owned by EA, they might actually be able to collaborate easier than they would in the past. So that could be really, really good for them.
True.
Yeah, and we all love the pig system in Apex Legends, but we're going to limit Apex Legends mentions to 3. So you've used 2, Dantics. No, I'm just kidding.
Whoa.
Wait, has it been 2?
No, I'm just joking. Do you have any other notes on positive, negative stuff, Arekkz, before we move on to the next topic?
One thing I would like them to kind of just think about is, I know, in fact, I think maybe they have done that. They might have mentioned it in a tweet, but basically, so without kind of spoiling stuff, like early on, there's the mission where you have to go and do free play stuff, and you have to go and collect a load of stuff and do things in free play. One of those involves gathering quite a lot of chests, and those chests only count if you physically open them, not if you're in a team and your team open them, it doesn't count as well. Now, having done that at the mission now, and like I've realized that I probably went about it the wrong way because I did it all in free play. Whereas what you should have done is got that mission, then gone back out, done some contracts, and then you kind of complete it in the process.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more seamless. But for the chest thing, I think what they should either do for like 20 seconds is either drop the chest requirement to like 5, or make it so that if you're in a team, it counts for everyone. Because like, I had like a little loop that I was running, and like I was basically taking each of my teammates on this loop, being like, all right, you're gonna open chest now. You need and it just kind of. Yeah, that when you factor in that, I've been playing all weekend with basically a full squad. So that's basically like 30, 45, pushing 60 chests that we've had to open in order to progress as a team. So that's quite a lot, right? So I feel like that was definitely a bit of a, like, because especially, I was jumping in, I was getting into the story. I was like, I'm flowing through. I'm like, let's do the next mission. You return to Fort Task, you go back out. And suddenly I hit this. I was like, oh, this is a bit of a slight kind of progression flow halt.
It's a brick wall. It's literally a brick wall. Yeah. And the stuff that hit me was definitely the treasure chests. I think everything else I kind of had progressed already within the world. So yeah, I was pretty set.
I found in terms of breaking kind of the flow, when I was in a group of people and we were just like talking, laughing, enjoying our time, you'd jump out of a mission into a load screen, and then you'd be thrown back into Fort Tarsus, and then you all kind of go off and do your own thing for a little bit. And that kind of really broke the immersion and the flow for me, because I'd have people talking over like cutscenes and talking over content and stuff like that. So it'd be like, shh, guys, relax for 20 minutes while I just do all this now.
Yeah,
I think
there was one time where I got a little snippy too. I was like, hey, shut up. Important cutscene. I need to know what they're saying.
I feel like there's going to be a way to replay that kind of stuff. And also there needs to be something that just kind of throws you to the next quest giver straight after a mission, just so it speeds that process up a little bit. But overall, really enjoying the crafting system as well. I think that's a really good way to supplement your build. If you use a ability enough, you get the next rarity, which is really cool, and you can just craft that rarity. So if you use a grenade from the start of the game, you'll probably have a masterwork version by the time you reach a high level.
How do you guys feel about not being able to craft stuff until you get it? Do you think there should be a system in place that allows you to craft stuff earlier? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be
like, yep. All right, next topic.
I think you could always go like the Monster Hunter route, where like when you start Monster Hunter, like your box is full of one type of each weapon, just so that you can because it basically means otherwise when you start the game you have to start with your the loadout that they've said this is the loadout that you start the game with. And I appreciate the very first mission you don't want to have all these options, but like at least to come back, because you do get stuff often enough, and I think pretty early on I basically got all the items anyway. But largely speaking, there could be a rare opportunity where you're just super unlucky. You just never get the item to drop for quite some time. You're like, well, I can't test this out until I think it would be quite nice if there was something you could do, or like, even if it came from like a rep game, like you get it and it gives you like the basic one. So like you're like, if say after like 3 or 4 missions you still haven't got it, it's like, well, now you can craft it. So something like that would just be nice, just to kind of like let people ensure that they can experience it.
Totally agree.
I think I was level 25 or even higher before I got Seeker Grenade.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like there's sometimes you can get really unlucky.
Yeah. And then also on my Ranger, of course, that's the class that I picked. After I equipped a different thing in my assault launcher, so I had a Seeking Missile and I equipped something else, I believe. Anyway, it would not let me craft Seeking Missile, so I was just stuck in this other loadout, and that was kind of a bummer. Because your initial loadout, it doesn't actually give you that as something just in your inventory. It just takes it away. So you have to get it again before you're allowed to use it again. And I'm like, well, let me at least use the base build if I want to for the early game.
Yeah.
Before we move on to the next topic, I do have good news for everybody. I have heard you loud and clear, and now you can hear us on iTunes and Google Play.
Hey.
I think I'm working on Spotify also, but yeah, so you guys have been asking about getting this in podcast form. You can probably see episode 0 there right now, and by tomorrow, the 18th, by the end of the day, we should have all episodes, including this one, live on the audio platform of your choice, if your choice includes iTunes, Google Play, or potentially Spotify. But yeah, that's what I was.
Super popular request. This one.
Everybody really, really wanted this, so I set you guys up. You are all good to go. Thank you so much for your support. Moving on to the next topic, the story, in-game lore. What are we liking and not liking? Again, positives, likes, dislikes, and just our overall impressions of the story is what I want to discuss now. And I am really into it. There is a point about the middle of the game where it gets really juicy, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but I was really, really like, after that moment happened, I'm like, I'm in. And beforehand, like, I've been reading all the lore, like every little thing, and I'm starting to like at about the 50% point, at least I feel like I'm about halfway through. I'm really starting to attach with the characters. Even like the janitor in Fort Tarsus, I find him to be a little bit interesting because he's sort of this like kooky character, and I want to like hear what he has to say to see what crazy thing he's going to talk about next. What about you guys? What's your impression of the story? You guys have actually completed the campaign. I've been playing for 20-ish hours and doing every single story thing and every single piece of lore, so I'm taking it slow. But what about you guys? You have finished the campaign. What do you think? We'll start with you, Arekkz.
So yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it. Again, like no spoilers or anything like that. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think for me, it was so I've experienced the story in a probably a slightly different way because I think I mentioned before that, you know, when I came into like Anthem, like I came in more as like a fan of the looter shooter genre than I do of like a kind of a story angle. Like I appreciate story in games 100%, but I'm not like one of those sort of like hardcore RPG, like I want to dive into every single conversation kind of people. So I've enjoyed the kind of the story that they feed to you as you're playing through, like all the missions. Every time there's a cutscene, I'm fully there. I'm like listening to it, taking it all in. I will say that the little bits that are in Fort Tarsus kind of a little bit lost on me because like when I have to go through like dialogue trees, like just based on the way that I like to play games, I just want to blitz through the missions and play through that stuff. So that kind of stuff I sort of skip past a little bit. But the core story, really enjoyed it. And I think the thing that I enjoyed the most is that, you know, I think we touched on this in a previous episode, like having played Destiny and Division, like a lot of the time looter shooters, they kind of struggle with, they have this big opening cinematic and then you don't really have much story for the rest of the game. At least it's not kind of told to you in a very cohesive manner. And maybe it wraps up with a cutscene at the end. But largely speaking, it's kind of hard to follow the story throughout those things, you know, whether it be in lore or anything. But this one, like throughout the whole thing, you know, there were regular cutscenes that kind of kept on pulling me back in. So to actually have like a looter shooter that has a really interesting campaign, really great characters throughout the whole thing, has been awesome, and the facial animation on some of the characters is incredible. So I've really enjoyed it.
I have too. Dantics?
Yeah, in typical BioWare fashion, there's the kind of the main storyline that you're really focused on, and then there's the side stuff, and the side stuff in this feels to me like less appropriate than a lot of other BioWare games, but it's still interesting. Like after every mission, as a lot of you know, you can go through the fort and talk to random people and they'll have their own storylines going. And it seems to me like the choices you make with them affect how they interact with other NPCs. That might just be in my head. Yeah, but like I remember, I don't want to give any spoilers, but I remember talking to one girl and then making a choice, and that choice led her to talk to another within the fort.
I know what you're talking about, and I love that quest line, actually. Yeah. I was that was the first one that got me entrenched. So, sorry.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right. So I found that I'm in between both of you here, whereas I did kind of half. Like I didn't rush through any of the story dialogue, but I, in a lot of cases when I was with groups, had to skip a certain amount just because people were waiting on me. So I really enjoy the story a lot when I got to spend time with it. I really, really did. I feel like they put in a lot of effort and when you kind of skip through it, you do miss a little bit. So I do encourage people to ignore your teammates and really listen to everything that everyone has to say.
Take your time. Yeah, most of my teammates are
time.
they're actually like further than I am. So we've just kind of have this agreement where like they'll hop in once in a while. But I'm like, just wait for me. I'll be there at endgame when I get there. Probably today, actually. I'll be streaming like right after we do this recording because I'm itching to get back in. I hit 21 and I'm stoked to get back in. But I do have a critique about the story because like at the beginning it was a lot. It was a little overwhelming, to be totally honest. And here's my critique. Let me replay the story missions. There's no option to do that except for randomly within free play, like within your menu when you're loading up a mission. And it would be excellent if I could play through the story again. This isn't Destiny where I want to skip through everything. If there's a mission that I want to see, like the one that bugged out on me, a pivotal moment in the campaign, the story bugged out on me. So I missed one of the most important cutscenes probably in the game to set up a character arc, and I was really
was that the same one?
Don't ruin anything.
I'm not going to ruin anything.
No, it was about mid game, so a major thing had happened, and I missed it. So I come back and chat's going crazy. They're like, "You need to go watch that cutscene." Yeah. So
did you YouTube it?
One thing
I YouTubed it, and he was a storm, and I'm a ranger, and I'm like, I wanted to experience this organically.
All right.
One thing I'll actually like super quickly, just kind of like as a tip to anyone else that's playing or maybe playing on the 22nd. I don't know if it's like a bug which they'll fix later. Be careful if you like, don't do any quick play stuff until you finish the story because there's a chance it can put you in the final mission if you haven't even got there. And you don't want to be doing that if you haven't finished the story, because So I don't know whether that's intentional, but like I heard from a few people saying on Reddit, they're basically like, I did quick play today and I got put in the final mission. It's like, oopsie.
Yeah.
Well, so you might want to avoid doing that.
Yeah, it bugged out for me pretty early on with this mission. It basically threw me into a cutscene mid-mission, and then I didn't load into the game quick enough, and my team finished the mission off. So when I got back into the game, it had finished, crashed, reloaded, and then I missed the whole post-mission cutscene. Completely missed it. So I had to find that cutscene and replay that mission with someone on my Discord.
Yeah. Some people are saying that you might be able to create a new pilot. And Arekkz, your character your mission bug may have been confirmed by Warner. Though I can't verify that immediately, but thank you, chat, for looking out. That's some good feedback. Do you guys have any more thoughts about the story campaign? I think overall, let's like give an overall impression. With the context that I have not beaten it, I would say the intro is a little slow because there's so much to learn about this new world, and it sort of throws you into that first mission, and you're like, why do I care about any of this stuff? But later it builds to something really good. So I'll give it a thumbs up. I'll say I'm digging the story, but it definitely took a while for me to get really into it. What about you guys?
Yeah, I'd say for me, like definitely a thumbs up again. I'd say agreed again. It kind of starts slow, gets really interesting to the point where like midway through, I was like, okay, I definitely want to I'm fully invested now. And then again, no spoilers, but like obviously towards the end, now I'm just like, now I started thinking towards the DLC roadmap where they kind of called out like what the next chapters are. I'm like, oh, so maybe this is where it could go. And now suddenly I'm like, oh, now I'm invested. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm the same as Arekkz here. I enjoyed it. I can see where it can go. I'm excited.
Yeah. By the way, Arekkz, how much is that next expansion? Like, how much are we going to have to pay additional to play that future content that fleshes out the story more?
It is quite expensive. It's the grand price of 0 pence.
$0?
Zero.
But oh my God.
How many pesos is it?
Yeah, how many pesos?
0.
Euros? Yeah.
Rupees?
The reason
0 as well.
Zero
gold as well.
The reason I'm asking is because one of the most controversial subjects, and this ties into what's been happening at Activision, where they record their most profitable year ever, basically, and then they fire 800 people, which is a pretty disgusting thing to do. But
it's horrible.
So here we are. Anthems comes out. People have been looking for an excuse to crucify the microtransaction system. There were plenty of videos about a $20 price point. And then the microtransactions comes out. And here's the facts, everybody. For the first 10 days, you could literally buy everything in the store for $30 if you want to spend money on it for some reason. You get 40,000 coins at the beginning, which would allow you to buy about 3 of the things right out, or just buy any of the cosmetics that you want. And then it's all just like, it's like an armor set for the Colossus and the Ranger, and then some material things, but you still have a robust customization system that's completely free. And I think this is one of the most harmless microtransaction systems I have ever seen in a game, because compounded upon all that, you can literally earn gold, which you earn at a fairly rapid rate, and just get them for free. I've been playing for about 2 days. I spent 40,000 gold to get the N7 skin immediately and make my character look like Commander Shepard.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I have about 60,000 gold at this point. I'm really close to it anyway, and I would be able to buy like the Ranger set or the Colossus set. And then, yeah, so that's how it is. Those are the facts, and I want to know from you guys, are we okay with this? And secondarily, why do you think people are so mad? So let's start with you, Dantics, because you said first.
Yeah. I wanted to get in on this. I want to get on this action.
Yeah.
I found it really generous. Now, it might slow down. The more challenges you complete will slow down, and then it'll dole out rewards at a slower pace. But I can buy everything in the store twice over right now. So to me, it's like maybe they're just being generous up front at the start, but it is fairly easy to kind of do everything you need to do without paying anything, because you can choose colors from a color wheel. I would have expected them to lock it behind, some kind of paywall if they were this horrible, terrible company like everyone making out that they are in every single game. But is it fine the way it is? Yes, it's completely fine. It's completely reasonable. You pay, for a full price game, and then you don't have to touch the microtransaction system again. And you can if you want to almost see it as a way to donate to the company if you want them to keep producing good content, if you do decide to do it. And why is everyone overreacting? Well, I think there is kind of, for better or worse, a crusade against this kind of thing. Not that I'm saying it's a bad one, but it seems like there's a little bit of unjustified hatred towards things that haven't had a chance to yet prove themselves. You saw that with the overreaction with the $20 per skin kind of videos. Those were all going off. Yeah, the leak. Those were all going off the leak, but the leak didn't have any prices for shards in it. So it was all an assumption. As we saw, the assumption was completely wrong. So I don't know, Arekkz, what do you think?
I mean, I would say the exact thing, right? I mean, I've kind of before I've played games for years that have had these systems in, like even way before like microtransactions became this kind of evil monstrosity, right? Like even before, like back in the WoW days, or MMOs that have cash shops. I'm so used to it, and I've always said, like, if it's cosmetic, I really don't mind at all, because at the end of the day, like, provided you're not selling power, I've never had an issue. But yeah, the pricing is fair, and there's even some items I'm pretty sure, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the only ones you can physically buy are the ones in that actual store. There's some additional ones that you like have to actually buy just with in-game coin, right?
That's
like,
correct.
Yeah, so like only the ones in the store can be purchased now. And I've seen like the other argument from like some people are like, all right, well, the price we've seen right now are for the like epic skins. Now I don't know. I might have missed a communication point. People are assuming that like the skins in the store follow the same rarity that the game does. I don't know if there will be masterwork skins and there will be legendary skins. So, it could well be that epic is the highest we'll ever go. It could well be there's a tier above us. But I don't think, because I followed everything pretty closely. And I'm pretty sure I haven't seen that. But even if there is, like the point is, at the end of the day, you seem to earn coin pretty generously. You're working through the tomb quest line, you're getting 2,000 coin per tomb you go to. You get 800 coin a lot of the time when you complete activities. You get, like, at the moment I'm still leveling up my alliance system, but at the moment I'm on about 3k coin a week on that and on top of stuff. So I haven't played the game for an entire week yet to know what like a week's earn rate is like. But all I will say is that I went in and I was like, this doesn't seem like an issue. I've got plenty of coin. I've been earning coin enough. I've bought I bought pretty much everything in game with the coin that I've earned. So I don't see, and yeah, it is true. It's like, I appreciate there are microtransactions done well, there are microtransactions done badly, but there does seem to be this kind of thing where people just want it to be bad so they can kind of continue to push their agenda they've been trying to push before, when in actual fact it's not that bad.
So to play devil's advocate, because I don't particularly think a show where everybody agrees with each other and we mostly seem in agreement is good. So let's look at it from the other perspective. I think people, and I see you in chat right now. We do this live, so pulling back the curtain a little bit. I do see you guys and some of your concerns. And the concern is that, like you said, Arekkz, this is going to go up in rarity and things are going to get more expensive. Yeah. And I think right now they have this sweet spot of pricing. It seems like the coin earning rate is good. It seems like the stuff is good. And you got to remember, this is day one. This is week one, moment one that we're experiencing the game. And how many coins did you say you have at the end of the campaign, Dantics?
140,000.
He has 140,000. He still hasn't got the weekly friend bonus, which is going to throw another, 3,000 coin at him for literally playing the game. And he's just stacking up this gold that he doesn't really have anything that he particularly needs or wants to buy. So this is week one. What's it going to look like in 2 months if you're playing Anthem regularly? Are you going to have 500,000 coin and then nothing to spend it on? So I think there is a way to earn it. And I've actually cycled back to just agreeing with you guys.
The point is you playing devil's advocate.
Yes. People are concerned. And I think they're concerned about a lot of stuff that EA has done in the past, like when they did Star Wars and they kind of broke the game. And what Activision has done recently. And those aren't things that I support. There are examples of this done poorly. And I think at the end of the day, people are just cautious. They're cautious because they've been burned so badly. Do you guys think that at all?
Yeah, I completely agree. If this was done badly, I would 100% be on the other side of the camp. If this was, $30 for a skin and we just had a store full of them and that was all we could do to customize our characters, then 100% I'd be like, this is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. But as it stands, it's all purely cosmetics, as Arekkz said, and it's a pretty robust system. The personalization, if it was just as it was, I'd be completely fine with. I'd be completely happy with. But what we might be getting in the future might be more expensive, might be legendaries or masterwork quality. But at the end of the day, if it continues to be personalization, I'm okay with that. If it continues just to be cosmetic, I'm okay with that, because I can show my support with my wallet. If I don't want any of that stuff, if I think it's too expensive or I think it's ridiculous, then I'm not going to buy it. And if we all don't buy something ridiculous, they're going to have to look at it. They're going to have to change it because they do need that income. So
yeah, and a lot of people, I see them in chat, they're like, Javelins are going to only be purchasable with shards. We don't know that. We have no proof. It's all assumption based. So you can't just take assumptions and go out with your torches and pitchforks. But when that happens, then you could raise your voice and say, hey, this isn't something we're going to support. For sure.
Yeah, but I definitely agree that I think it's like, I can completely understand where people are coming from, but I think the fact that you are able to earn it in game is where the difference lies. Because, for example, if we look back to Destiny when there was like Eververse, one of the biggest gripes with Destiny 2 was that it seemed like a lot of the things that in Destiny 1 you would have earned in game, like sparrows and shaders and things like that, were actually put into. It felt like they were physically ripped out the game and put into Eververse. Whereas this is like, you know what, this stuff you can buy it, but you can earn it as well. And that's sure. Again, as I said, like, it'll be interesting to have this conversation, like when we have a podcast in maybe 2 weeks, once we've had like a couple of weeks to establish the earn rates and work out how fast we're earning coin. Then maybe we'll get an actual picture for be like, all right, that armor set, if you had no coin, this is how long it'll take you to farm. And then once we know that, we can be like, maybe it's too expensive. Maybe because obviously, yes, from a business practice, there will obviously be stance in such a way as so to be like, it might take you a week to earn, or you can buy it today. That's how MTX works, right? But again, the be all and end of it is you can earn it in game, and in a game where you want to grind for stuff, you want something to chase, right? So like, I honestly haven't looked at it and thought this is the problem, and so for now.
So, but have you guys seen any cosmetics drop in the game yet?
No,
not yet.
No. So I don't think that's something they do. So there was a few people in chat saying, microtransactions will affect the drop rate. Not in this game, because those cosmetics don't drop. So it's just a matter of you need to earn the coin to buy them, or you need to purchase shards.
I did also ask Mike Gamble about the crafting stuff, and he told me that those will only ever be purchasable with coin. You're never going to be able to buy shards and get crafting materials. So that was a concern for me. I was also concerned about the Legion of Dawn stuff, but at the end of the day, those guns are just kind of bleh. After level 18, you basically never equip them again.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like to get to that point, they were okay at best. So those concerns were kind of alleviated immediately, but yeah. Any other thoughts here, or we're going to move on?
Yeah, I think we should. I think we covered it all. Yeah.
Got it. So we're going to move on. We're going to discuss the end game and if it's looking strong enough to sustain you for a while. But before that, I want to remind you, this is where we go into questions directly from chat. So if you want to head on over to twitch.tv/the Destin channel and hit @the Destin channel and ask your question, we will answer it live on air. And now that I posted that in chat, I will ask my panel of friends here. The end game, is it looking strong enough to sustain you guys for a while? You guys have hit end game. I'm not quite there yet, so I'm going to be leaning on you guys quite a bit. Dantics, how are you feeling about that grind to get your masterwork and such?
Look, I personally like the loot chase. It's something I really enjoy, but I can see how others could find it a bit shallow. Mostly because if you're not really one for finding the next big gear drop, and you rely purely on differential content to keep you going end game, then I feel like there isn't probably a lot for you right now. But they have mentioned Cataclysms is coming post-March, and that I feel is going to really mix the content up. New events, new missions, all of that is on its way. And I know people don't like hearing, more is on its way, but it really is. They're looking into it, they're working on it, and we know that they've traditionally listened to us in the past. So if endgame is something that you guys really want to see more of and you're there now, then it's just something you have to voice. Me personally, I'm enjoying what I'm doing, but that's only because it's like 2 days into it. So I don't know how I'll feel in a week. Yeah.
What about you, Arekkz?
Yeah, I mean, I'm same sort of thing. I mean, I would argue that I'm technically speaking, not quite end game because I'm still like level 26. So like I'm working towards that. I'm kind of approaching like level 30. So I'm kind of getting into that loop. Now I have completed the campaign, so I am kind of approaching at least that part of it. And I mean, so far like, I've been enjoying it because at the moment I'm still on that chase, right? I'm still like half my gear is still rare. I'm starting like just today, in fact, as I kind of ticked over in level and like gear score, I'm just starting to get epic drops now. So now when I'm going through strongholds, I'm getting the purple dropping from chests and stuff. So I feel like I'm starting to get to that point now where I'm obviously replacing things, and I'm starting to see a few masterworks from like friends that have got them, reading the descriptions, and of course that's the stuff that excites me because obviously now that I'm changing my build, that's ultimately what I want to work towards. I saw like a legendary drop on Reddit as well. So knowing that stuff is there. Yeah, I mean, at the moment, like obviously, I am still doing kind of the same strongholds I've been farming. I mean, actually, I'm still been kind of just doing Tyrant Mine right now because I know it so well, and I'm just trying to farm it like reliably. So I would say, yeah, definitely, kind of as Dantics said, we're only like a couple of days in, right? So I haven't hit that point where I'm like, all right, what do I do next, right? Because I'm still in that chase. So again, sort of, fast forward a couple of weeks, once I've actually got a fully decked out Masterworks build with some legendary pieces, and like I feel like I've got a really good build.
Good set.
Yeah, then there might be the question of like, all right, well, what do I actually use this on? But at least in my current state, I'm just like, well, I've still got stuff to do. Like I log on every morning. I still haven't cleared all the contracts on my map. I still have agent missions that I haven't done yet, which I still need to finish. I still haven't even done a legendary contract because I'm not level 30 yet. And I've obviously and because I'm not level 30, I haven't unlocked Grandmaster 1, 2, or 3 yet. And I think I saw a tweet from Ben Irving today. He said that the Masterwork loot pool pre-Grandmaster is quite limited, so you'll only be getting a few items there. But then once you get to Grandmaster, it's the whole Masterwork loot pool. So, that having that draw is still exciting to me, right? So for now, I'm just like, that's my goal. That's what I'm shooting for. So it's giving me stuff to do.
So because I'm not there yet, I'm just hitting 21, as I said at the beginning of the show. I have to ask you guys, what has been the most interesting thing that you have acquired this far that adds some sort of interest to your build set or your weapon or just something that plays really well together? Have you encountered anything like that this early?
The first masterwork that dropped for me was a assault rifle that when you, I believe, hit the target, you get bonus damage. So I use it on the Storm. I think it stacks 10 times. I can't remember the name of it for the life of me. I probably should have looked it up. But it's really good. Like, it really amps your damage numbers up. When you have 10 stacks, it's absolutely crazy.
Mm-hmm. I think for me, there's a component for the Colossus that gives you 300% damage increase when you are charging with a shield.
Oh,
so you literally bring your shield up and you just charge into everything. And like, obviously the bigger enemies, not so much, but the trash mobs, it's just like dead.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, this is brilliant.
That
and
is
even
good.
I even found that the other day, even if it doesn't take the shield down, like, sometimes the annoying storm enemies that just float in their bubbles.
Yeah.
If I fly into them with a shield, it knocks them out the sky, and I'm like,
yeah. And
so
once they're on the ground,
I'm having a lot of fun. Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah. Are you still maining Colossus?
Amazing.
You said you switched. You said you switched.
Oh no! I switched the build. So I'm still Colossus.
Oh,
but I
okay.
switched. My kind of the build I was like before, like, this is the best. It can't possibly get better than Lightning Coil Flamethrower. I'm like,
Yeah.
you know what? Because when you break it down to its components, the reason Lightning Coil Flamethrower is so good is not because of Lightning Coil and Flamethrower. It's because the Colossus's combo effect is just an AoE explosion, and it just so happens that Lightning Coil does the destination for you. But when you get to some of the slightly more challenging things, you don't always want to be up in the enemy's face. And I was in a mission the other day where I was fighting a Titan, and the Flamethrower doesn't really do much damage to it. So I was like, there's got to be a better way to do this. So I've switched up to basically the same combo, but just ranged. I've instead got a Firewall Mortar and a Railgun. So I still get the same crazy combo effect. I still get the massive explosions, but I can just do it at a safer distance. And it also means, because I'm further away, I can pair it with a Devastator. So it's like, well,
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, for me, I can't wait to get into endgame. I'm probably going to be doing it a little bit later today. Any thoughts on that stuff, guys? How you're feeling about it? Pretty good? Endgame good? Endgame, I don't know.
I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Is it too early? Is it too early to make a determination? Yeah.
It's too early for me.
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely. I think the main takeaway is that, like, we know what the end game is right now, and I know that as content goes, that isn't a huge amount of content, right? Having to repeat the strongholds, like, at the moment it hasn't got boring, but I could see how, like, when you just have 3 strongholds and you just have your contracts, it will get to a point where you're like, yeah, as I mentioned, if I've got a full Masterwork build, I'll be like, what am I actually going to use this build on? Division 1 had the exact same problem. I min-maxed the build, and I'm like, there's no purpose for me to have spent this time doing it, because I don't need this build. If I can complete Grandmaster 3 with like a half and half build, then I don't need a perfect build. But I am, as someone that's played like a lot of these types of games before, I'm fully aware that this is a game that will evolve. So I'm in it for the long haul because I genuinely am invested in the game. I like it, I enjoy it, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. So I have faith that there'll be cool stuff coming.
Yeah, me too. I can't wait for all the free content that we're going to get. Also, the free support that we're not paying for, except for when we buy a bubblegum on the shoe emote, which, we'll get really spicy about later. No, I'm just kidding. Did you get it?
I bought it. I wanted it because I was like, well,
It's so goofy.
But you know what was really annoying? I bought it, and then all my teammates were loading in before me. So by the time I kept on loading in, they'd already flown off. I was like, guys, can you come back and see my landing?
Come look.
And they were like, no.
That's funny.
Yeah.
All right, so this is the part of the show where we read your questions. Sometimes this goes great. Sometimes it's a disaster. Let's see what we're going to get today. We got a really good one from Trixor, who says, what do you think about the end game not having enough strongholds? I can kick that one off. We're actually getting another stronghold in March, and it seems like they're going to slowly roll them out. So how do you guys feel about them starting with 3, I believe, and then expanding from there after launch? I like it.
Yeah. Look, I would have personally preferred more. I would have preferred. What is the sweet spot though? Like, how could you know? Maybe 5?
Yeah.
Maybe just 2 more.
Yeah.
Yeah. But look, they're rolling out more, and that's what's the point.
Yeah. Arekkz?
Yeah. I mean, same thing. I mean, like, it definitely 100%, like, kind of goes without saying that, like, more content would have always been cooler, and like, I think 5 would have been like an interesting kind of sweet spot, because you sort of but I mean, the fact we know it's coming soon, like, if we're talking like a month down the line, again factoring in that, okay, we're a couple of days in, but knowing how RNG works in these games, I feel like it's going to be a good few weeks before I've got like a decent build together. So by that time, hopefully we'll be getting close to that point, right? So provided there's not these huge lulls in between, then I don't mind too much. So yeah.
What was I gonna say? So I would have been more critical about this, I think, there being only 3. But now that I'm in the campaign, and there are so many missions to do, there's so many missions. I just feel like Bryn has this quest line, and all the other characters keep giving me stuff to be exploring that I'm not really worried about Strongholds. I'm worried about completing all the side stuff and all the main story quest line things. There's a robust amount of content here that I've been having a lot of fun with.
Yeah.
I think something that I kind of just, sorry to add to that, like one of the things I think is really interesting is just about kind of like potential for endgame, because we were kind of discussing in our group today that like I won't talk about it specifically, but like one of the other strongholds anyway, like it presented like an interesting layout where it's like this would actually work really well as a raid encounter. Like this has the potential to have those kind of raid mechanics. So it's like to sort of see that and pair that in the kind of game. It's sort of like this is, I think it's more one of those kind of like wishful sort of things, but it's like seeing the potential of what they could do with it. So, you know, the fact they've said that they have like aspirational content, if they can look at that and look at kind of like what people like from those kind of activities and apply that to the game, like the game definitely has the potential to have it. So if they could do that, that'd be really cool.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's a good skeleton there. There's a good framework there for content, which I really enjoy.
Yeah.
It's, you know, when you ask people, hey, did you want more? The answer will always be yes. 100%. Yeah. I put polls out there before. It's like, hey, do you want me to stream tonight? Yes, no. It'll be 100% yes, even if they're not going to watch it. They'll just say, yeah, we want you to do as much as you possibly can. So I think it's like, at a pretty good spot because of everything that there is to do in addition to the Strongholds. Zakanoth asks, Destiny 2 or Anthem? I can start this one off. For now, it's Anthem. Destiny 2 is having an expansion. I might check it out, but Anthem's definitely going to be having a lot of my attention, and I understand the desire to pick one or the other. I don't necessarily think it's that type of competition. I think they're going to be sort of symbiotic, where you'll go play Destiny for a while when you want that first-person shooter feel, and then you can play Anthem. What about you guys, Arekkz?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely like. It's one of those weird things that although they both are looter shooters, they both exist in this genre. I do strongly believe they are still two very different games. And it's hard to do. I mean, but obviously right now for me it is 100% Anthem, because at the moment I am on a break from Destiny. Like I will fully go back and check out Joker's Wild when it comes out, because I want to check it out. And as I do with every Destiny update, you know, I go in, I do the content. Once I'm done, I take a break and I come back. It's how I play all my games, right? So I imagine the exact same thing will happen for Anthem. You know, I'll play the Anthem, I'll enjoy it, I'll love it. There'll be a point where I've done everything. I'll probably take a break for a bit, come back. You know, so. But yeah, I don't. It's hard, and I completely understand why people ask for the comparisons, because these games are time sinks, and sometimes people are like, I can only physically, you know, with a full-time job, I can only physically invest in one. So I get that, but for me, it's really hard to try and compare them, because like they are very different. So I guess I would say, you know, if PvP is a huge thing to you, and maybe Destiny is your bag. Whereas obviously, if it's not, then Anthem is definitely more exciting for me. Like they've got the story, they've got a lot of cool abilities and stuff, and gameplay just feels great.
Dantics, you can only pick one for the rest of your life.
Anthem.
You don't play Destiny, really, do you?
Look, I was kind of done with Destiny after a little bit. So for me, it's a very simple answer. I'm not creating any content for it as well, and sometimes I have to go along with what I need to create. So
totally makes sense. Boss Arvin says, "How's the balance between javelins?" I only picked the Ranger, so I have no clue. What about you guys?
I can feel this. The Colossus still feels a little weak early on, but once you start getting those items, those masterwork items, and you get the specific components for the Colossus, which have a ton more health than normal components, then it starts kicking into gear, and you start feeling really powerful. Right now, there's a lot of Storms out there, and the reason being is I feel like the Storm Ultimate is vastly superior to every other Ultimate. It does more damage, it combos and primes, whereas the others just kind of feel a little lackluster compared to that. Besides the Interceptor, which I believe, I didn't notice this, but if you hit an individual target, it kind of tags them with a shadow clone, and then you can go and start hitting other targets instead of just focusing on the one, and it puts a lot of damage on everything. So that's actually pretty powerful, but I feel like the range and the Colossus need a bit of a buff there. So that's my initial thoughts. Endgame, not sure. Haven't decked them out completely, but that could change everything.
I definitely still see that on Colossus to a degree. I saw a question in chat asking about how is Colossus in Grandmaster 2. I haven't had a chance to try it just yet. I will say that I've been adopting my kind of Colossus playstyle a little bit differently, because the way, like, it's definitely not a class where you still don't just hold your shield up and sit there and just like tank it, because obviously it still does get ripped through. But But I feel like what I've been using it more so is almost like in a game where you would parry. Like obviously you can't parry in this game, but like for example, if the Titan fires a fireball at you, I bring up the shield at the last minute to like tank the fireball, and then I put it away straight away. Because then it's always regenning, right? And then if ever I want to get out of danger, instead of putting my shield up, I'll specifically charge to knock enemies over, because then when they're down, then I can get away. So I feel like I have to use it slightly more, not as a conventional shield where like, oh, yo, this is dangerous, I'm going to hide. It's more like I'm going to use this to quickly. Yeah. And as a result of that, I found that there's, in situations where I otherwise would have kind of gone down more, I've been surviving a bit more. So yeah, it's definitely not your conventional tank. I'll say it that much. Colossus isn't going to be that I'm just going to face tank everything. And I guess maybe they didn't want you to do that, hence why you have to put your shield down to fire weapons. But I agree that maybe, given that it's kind of marketed, like when Halleck talks about it, when you pick the Colossus, he's like, it's the strongest javelin ever. And it's like, okay, cool. So maybe there's some balancing to be done there, but I don't quite know the answer yet because I haven't properly gone into Grandmaster to see quite how that is. Yeah, so
we'll see. Shortly.
Yeah, we'll see exactly.
It's Buddha Time has an interesting one here, and he asks, do you feel like Anthem will ever get a fair shake because of the negativity surrounding it at launch? I'll go last. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
I mean, I think yes. I think it will do 100%. I think there's all of these games, they always have this interesting launch period, right? Where it's like everyone. It's this weird climate, right? It's just this like outrage climate where like everyone, it's almost like when a game comes out, everyone's just watching it and waiting for it to fail first, like which is just horrible, right? Because people have been working so hard on these games, like whether or not you like it, right? It's like like I want every game, even for games that I don't watch. Like I don't like football, I don't play FIFA, but I still want FIFA games to succeed for the people that have worked hard on them, right? It's like, but irrespective of that, I feel like
for the gamer,
when a game first comes, exactly, and for the gamer, right? But like when a game first comes out, there's a lot of people watching it. There's a lot of people with their own kind of like viewpoints. Like I wanna see this through. Right, but then once that kind of like dies down, once the game's been out for a little bit, the people that ultimately don't care about the game and are kind of just like hating on it because they want to, they're going to go away. They're going to focus on whatever they want to do next. Then you have the people that are enjoying the game that are going to stick around. They'll see the game through. The developers will carry on expanding it. The game will start to take over, and then there'll probably come a point where there will definitely be some people that have seen some of the outrage this week and some of the reviews that will likely follow, and they'll be like, you know what, maybe there isn't enough content at launch. Maybe I'm not going to check it out. Maybe I'll cancel my pre-order for now. And then fast forward, say 3-5 months, once it's had a ton of content updates and there's more stuff, then they might come back. Like, I mean, again, kind of, I always go back to it as a comparison point, but I know a lot of people that dropped out of Division 1 and then they actually came back around like 1.6, and there were so many people that were streaming it around that point because they were like, well, now there's a lot of stuff to do. So I think games like these, they always have a rocky start because everyone's always got these super high expectations, because I think a lot of people also forget. They'll look at things like Destiny Division and forget that they didn't start like they are right now. They had to build up there. And they often forget that. So I think all these games kind of, they never, when they launch, quite meet expectations, but then they build up. So I do think it will do 100%. And I think it's a super solid foundation. I've honestly had so much fun playing it. Irrespective of some of the issues and things that I would like to see fixed, I've genuinely had fun playing it. I think people will continue to do that. So
in terms of if it's going to get a fair shake, I think simply because of everything that people have to deal with EA, there's like 4 kinds of people looking at Anthem right now. People are generally like kind of indifferent or haven't followed along. There's people who are excited for it or enjoying it. There's people who are a bit skeptical because it's EA. And then there's people that straight out don't care how good it is or how it's going to do or any of its potential and just straight up want it to fail because it's EA. And I see that in my comment sections all the time. It's just they will sling any insult they can just to kind of get people to stop being interested in this game, and that's because they just want to see EA fail. So yeah, it's going to have, I guess, a bigger struggle than a lot of other games. Like if it was CD Projekt Red, for example, I don't think it'd get the same kind of response. It's just because of the nature of the publisher, and unfortunately that's just what it's going to have to deal with. So how it's going to have to move forward is putting out good content that no one can argue with. And if BioWare does that consistently, then they can get rid of this negative stigma that's automatically attached to these EA games. So yeah, that's what they need to do.
So we got a lot of questions about how long is the story, and Alpha Remix sort of elaborated upon that. He said, do you feel like people who rushed through it and then complained about it being too short is okay? I'll just say, like, it's fine if they want to play it that way, but I mean, if they had a negative reaction, maybe don't rush to the story next time. I'm not going to say that's an incorrect reaction, but if you chose to experience it that way, then that's kind of on the player, not on the game. Because I'm playing through the story very casually, as I said at the top of the show. I'm about 20 hours in, and just playing at my own pace and having a great time. For you guys have completed the campaign. You did it a little faster, and you said you still have most of your side quest stuff up. So how long did that core experience take you to complete, for those asking?
I suppose so. For me, I played from the moment it went live on the first day. So I guess it's probably kind of 10, 12 hours, give or take, right? Sort of, like playing at pace, obviously, like the free play stuff, kind of adjusting the time and whatnot. But yeah, I think about that time. And I did basically golden line it. There were a couple of times when I jumped off and did a couple of contracts, but largely speaking, I golden lined it. And that's not because I'm trying to rush games. That's just how I play these ones, because I ultimately play these games more for endgame, right? So yeah, I think if you're doing that, but if you are going through and you are doing all the agent contracts, you're doing all the side missions before you do the final bit, you'll probably get 20 hours out of the campaign, I'd say.
Yeah. Well, I'm 20 hours in. I'm still not through it, but I'm also doing all the stuff in Fort Tarsus. I'm talking to every conversation that comes available, because that's the stuff that I love in games. So I'll get to the building and the min-maxing later, but for me, I'm just like, man, I really want to know more about these characters. And I found that I'm more attached to Bryn, and I'm more attached to these people that I've met during the campaign. And I really like that. I really like that response.
Are you missing the romances now?
Yes, there's definitely a few people I wanted to at least take a shot with, if you know what I'm saying.
I feel like they could have tacked that in. There's so many times where I'm like, she is flirting with me. You could have tacked that in there, just like Fade to Black, even,
Yeah. And then reference last night was great,
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
That'll be the Valentine's Day DLC event.
Yeah, good point. Good point. I'd be surprised if they don't for Valentine's now that you've mentioned it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next year, at least.
I realized I never actually answered the question about if Anthem got a fair shake. I don't.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I don't feel like it necessarily has at launch now with PC, and I think that's largely tied to the negativity surrounding the Origin stagger release schedule, which I actually think is bad overall for the product. I think it's going to hurt it in the long run, because you got PlayStation users that can't talk to PC users, and you got Xbox users that played for 10 hours and that are now locked out. It's a mess, and it's not a good thing. The microtransaction stuff that's going on right now is accruing even more anger than it originally would have, because of what just happened with Activision and them firing 800 people, which is disgusting in their most profitable year. I don't know what the hell they were thinking, but that's definitely not a good PR look for them. And I hope, because I am enjoying it so much, that people will give it a shot, maybe later down the line if it's on sale or something, because it is a really cool experience flying around as a robot space wizard, raining lightning down from the sky and setting people ablaze. That's a fun gameplay loop. And it's just a bummer that there's all this other stuff going on right now that is impacting its ability to have that opportunity to win you over, so to speak. Hopefully most of the people who are playing seem to be having a good time. We're having a good time.
Yeah.
Most of the people watching me are like, I can't wait to play on the 22nd. And knowing that there's people out there waiting for PlayStation kind of inspires me to potentially pick up a PlayStation account and just run that as an all really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see if we got one more question before the end of the show. How do you guys feel about the variety of enemies? Does it feel like you're always killing the same thing? That's from Super Awesome Geek Show. How about you, Dantics? Any thoughts about enemy variety?
I thought I would care more, but I really don't. I think it's because with the loop that I'm currently in now, I have no problem switching up my weapons, switching up my abilities, and it feels like the enemies are just there to test my explosions on, so to speak. But I think a bit down the track, I'll kind of miss not having more enemies like the Titan, for example. I want more that have some kind of mechanic to them. Like Titan, he'll reach into the ground, his arms will light up, you have to fire on that, otherwise he won't stagger and he will launch big attacks at you, or his chest. And there's little loops like that I really wish there was more of. More bosses, for example, was one of the bits of feedback that I produced to BioWare is like, we need more of these kind of bigger enemies to really inspire us to feel kind of badass. Because when you take down the tyrant, it's just, it feels really good. So I want more of that, most definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, I feel like towards the top end, like more because like I really enjoy it. Like when I'm in free play and I find a random Ursix or a Titan, right? I like fighting them. I'd like to have more things to that, like in that kind of top end, because there's a lot of things you could do, and I feel like for a game that's so vertical and a game where you can fly through the sky, there's not a lot of enemies that encourage you to fight them while flying, right? Like I would love to have like most of the things like you'll either go and get your aerial advantage then shoot them on the ground. I would like there to be something like you should probably fly up and like chase this thing. But with regards to variety, it's one of those weird things that I thought the same thing. I asked this to a couple of the BioWare people like when I spoke to them before, like pre-launch. I was like, is there more than just the Scar and this? And it's like I thought that would initially bother me, but then I kind of thought about it from a Destiny point of view, and I realized that when the game came out, and obviously you had 4 enemy races, and like when it first launches, it isn't an issue because I'm still in that early stage. I'm still in that kind of like stage where everything is new and exciting to me, and I'm going through, and I don't mind that I'm farming them because it feels good just to shoot them, right? Every time like you break a Scar helmet off, it just feels great. Yeah. I think where it will start to hit in is like if they then release like 3, 4, 5 DLC, like the free DLC updates, and they've always got the same enemies in, I feel like then it might start to get to the point where it's like, oh, really Scar again? Just in the same way that again with Destiny, it's like, oh, another Hive expansion, or like these Hive have just got like ice on them. So if they can make sure that then towards the end, or like towards like future expansions, they do start introducing new things, I don't think it'll be a problem for me. So yeah, at the moment, I haven't got to the point where I'm like, oh, this is annoying. So yeah.
Dantics, any other thoughts?
No. I think Arekkz summed it up perfectly there. I think if we get to the point where DLC is just repeating mobs, then yeah, I think we'll start to feel it. But as of right now, I think it's fine. I think one thing though that one of my friends mentioned was he'd like to see like a loot 2.0 change, whereas right now it seems very weighted towards what level you are is what gear will drop. At the start, you're going to get commons, then you start getting uncommons, then you start getting rares. I think there should be some kind of hook there. For example, throwing you like a level 2 masterwork every now and then, or a level what you're at masterwork, just so you'd be like, oh, I really got to try that out. That's going to change my gameplay a little bit, and then that will hook you into that loop of finding cool loot. I think they did that with Diablo 3, where they made those uniques drop much more often, and that really encouraged you to keep pushing forward. I think if that happened, then the mobs aren't really going to matter as much because it's going to be all about trying new skills, trying new combinations. So.
I agree. I just want stuff to raffle stomp, and there are definitely enemies that I react differently to, like some of the Dominion enemy types, like the weird monster things that they bring out are fun to use as a testing ground for your different abilities. So overall, let's wrap up the show. This will be our last point here. How are we feeling about Anthem? Are we having a good time? Are you enjoying it? What do you think? I'll say I'm having fun. I can't wait to play today. I'll be playing right after the stream, so I'm excited to get right back into it. How about you guys? You feeling good still?
Super excited to get back into it, and I mean that's all you need to know, really. If you want to keep playing a game, put aside the politics, put aside all the little niggly things that are bothering you. If at the end of the day you want to play more, that is success to me. That's a good game. Yeah.
Arekkz,
I mean, I'm exactly the same boat. Like, I'm still at a point where, I mean, okay, yeah, it's still launched, but I'm still playing till late at night, way beyond I would normally play. I wake up in the morning and I'm already like, I want to get back in. I'm already thinking about stuff. And like, when you start thinking about the game when you're not playing the game, like thinking about different build options, like it's still in that stage. So, and I'm still in there. So yeah, I mean, 100%. I'm not blind to some of the stuff that needs to be fixed. The game is not perfect. There are things that need to be addressed, but I'm loving it. I'm genuinely having a great time, and I'm going to continue playing it because I'm genuinely having fun. So yeah,
before this show, Arekkz is like, 1 second, I'm doing a mission really quick, and like he just wanted to get through it. I'm like, all right, he's having a good time.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys, well, that's it for this episode. Are you guys going to be streaming at all, and where can people watch you when you're doing your stuff? Arekkz?
I won't be streaming it, but I will be diving back in, probably to work on some videos and whatnot. So people can find content over at youtube.com/ArexG, and you can find me on Twitter at twitter.com/Arekkz.
Awesome. Dantics, how about you?
I won't be streaming, so check out Destin for that. But I will be creating content, and that will be /Dantics, and I'll be on Twitter posting quite a lot /Dantics official.
Cool. Well, I want to get back to the game. So until next time, freelancers, it's time to get back to work. I'll see you soon.